Hey, welcome back to Diversity Podcast, Season 2, Episode 1. You know what? I'm so happy to start another journey here with Story 8 Help. Here's a little background on what Diversity Podcast is. Diversity Podcast, hosted by yours truly, explores a series of insightful episodes that dive deep into important topics surrounding diversity, mental health, and of course, personal growth. They feature discussions with special guests and thought leaders, and they focus on real-world experiences and the power of positivity. From addressing bullying to celebrating the impact of storytelling, each episode aims to inspire, educate, and foster a sense of community. Yep, I'm your host, David Arts, and we're kicking off this summer with a splash. Literally. Remember back in 2014 when social media was soaked with all these videos of people dumping buckets of ice water onto their heads? Yeah, me too. It was fun, it was wild, and it was for a good cause. Raising awareness and funds for ALS. Now, that movement raised over $115 million for the ALS Association. And yet, this year, the Ice Bucket Challenge makes its return with a powerful twist. What's the cost this time? Mental health awareness. In this episode, I will dive deep into why the challenge is returning and what it means for mental health and the powerful insights that are constantly reshaping how we talk and think about mental health today. So let's take a little capsule back to summer of 2014. The internet was full of challenges, like the Cinnamon Challenge or the Harlem Shake. And in between those two, you got the Ice Bucket Challenge. This concept was simple, but it reaches over in a whole global area. Millions participated, including celebrities, politicians, and even presidents. Over 17 million videos, 17 million videos were uploaded to Facebook. But behind all these viral trends was a real cause: raising awareness and funds for ALS, a neurodegenerative disease. Now, we saw incredible increase in funding, which really helps researchers make significant strides in ALS research. But like most trends and viral trends, the challenge faded away. That was until 2025. Yeah, it took them until 2025 to get another group of young activists to propose a revival. But this time, there was a twist and with a new purpose. So, I want to ask you some questions here. Why do some challenges stick and others disappear? Well, I'll answer this for you now. Several key factors influence whether social media challenges takes off or fades away. Well, the first thing is simplicity and accessibility. The challenges must be easy to do and not require special equipment. If we're talking about the Ice Bucket Challenge, all you need was water, ice, and a phone. If you didn't have a phone, then you can borrow it from someone else, and that's literally all you needed. Number two is shareability. Challenges that look good or funny on a video tends to spread more and quicker. If it's entertaining, people are more likely to watch, like, and repost. The third thing is social pressure and tagging. Many viral challenges like the Ice Bucket Challenge in general involved nominating others. This taps into FOMO and makes it personal. If someone tags you, you feel compelled to join in. And it had a purpose or cause. Challenges that tie into a cause can gain more traction, especially when there's a clear why to it. But the cause has to be communicated well. And finally, celebrity involvement. When famous people take part, it creates a ripple effect. And now, something that no one paid attention to, everyone's paying attention to. Another question I have for you is, what made the original Ice Bucket Challenge such a massive success? Well, one thing was timing. It hit during a time when Facebook video was booming and people were actively looking for ways to engage. Another thing was clear call to action. Huge. they ask for you to either donate or dump ice water. And ideally, they want you to do both, and it challenges others. The other thing is massive participation. Big names like Bill Gates, Oprah, and LeBron James took part in this, adding star power and credibility. Visual appeal. Watching people get doused into ice water is funny and dramatic, and it made for compelling content. And finally, sense of community. It felt like global movement, not just a trend, but a way to join in and do good. My third question is, did it really help people understand more about ALS? Or was it more about the views? And to be fully honest, I think it definitely was more about the views for most people. Many participants didn't fully understand what ALS was, and they were just doing it for the fun part and tagging friends. With that said, awareness increased though. Even if most didn't know the details, the name ALS became widely known. It raised serious money too, over $150 million in the US just alone. That money funded important research and even led to discoveries related to the ALS gene. So while the depth of understanding was limited, the impact was real. But beneath all of this, why mental health? Why go from this special thing over to a more general broad term of mental health? Well, mental health issues have long carried a stigma, but post-pandemic, there's been a seismic shift in how we view mental health. Anxiety, depression, PTSD, and burnouts, these are not just buzzwords. They are realities for millions and millions around the world. As one of the organizers said, this time, the ice is melting the silence around mental health. And that really hit me. The idea was to connect a physical action with emotional vulnerability. The shock of ice represents a shock of panic attacks, the numbness of depression, or the cold silence that you may feel when battling with a mental illness. The 2025 reboot is not just about dumping ice. It's about sharing stories. Participants are encouraged to record a 1-minute message about their mental health journey or someone they support, followed by the ice dump. Here are some context. 1 in 5 adults in the US experience mental health illness every single year. Suicide is the second leading cause of death among people aged 10 to 34. And mental health related emergency visits increased by 31% during the pandemic. Campaigns like this can challenge the culture of silence. We're creating a space for conversations, and that's transformative. So the question that you should be thinking about is, can a viral challenge be enough to spark real change in how society views mental health? What's the difference between awareness and action? And what I think about my own experiences with stress, anxiety, and even burnouts, I have to say I think a viral challenge can be a spark. It truly can. But it's rarely a whole fire. It might start a conversation. It might not, but it might. And get people to post about their struggles too. Or maybe even share some resources along the way. But for real change to happen, awareness needs to lead to action. A post or hashtag isn't enough on its own. Awareness is knowing. Action is doing. You can be aware that mental health matters. Maybe you repost a video or wear a green ribbon, but action means checking in on friends, pushing for school mental health days, going to therapy, or supporting policy changes that improve access to care. Viral challenges often stop at awareness, and while that's better than nothing, we can't confuse visibility with progress. People are opening up now, sharing truths, and reclaiming their voices. The hashtag Ice for the Mind, has over 1.2 billion views. That's not just viral, that's movement. So, I would have to say, in my own ice bucket challenge, if I was to share a personal mental health story, I would ask myself, what would that be? How honest would I be? And would I be nervous? And what story would I share? Well, for me, this isn't easy to say, but I think that's the point of the challenge. And if this were the ice bucket challenge, this would be the moment I dump freezing water on my head. But instead, I'm sharing something colder and harder from the inside. There has been times when I felt completely overwhelmed, stressed from school, feeling like I had to be perfect all the time, pretending I was okay even though I wasn't. I remember lying in bed one night, wide awake, just wired with anxiety and stress, and still getting up the next day like nothing was wrong. Yeah, I know I'm not the only one here. We just don't talk about it. So if this video does anything, I wanted to show that it's okay to not be okay, that opening up isn't a weakness, that mental health deserves the same kind of urgency and attention we gave with a bucket of ice water, and maybe even more. I challenge you to share your own story or check in with someone who might need help. Let's make honesty go viral. Here's some ways that you can be honest. Be real, but protect your peace. You don't need to share your deepest pain if it doesn't feel safe to you. Choose a story that is true to you, but doesn't leave you emotionally exposed in a way that feels uncomfortable. Nervous is normal. You're putting vulnerability into a public space, and that's brave. But remember, someone else watching might need to hear exactly what you have to say. And pick a story with a full message. It doesn't need to be a perfect ending. It could just be a moment that you realize that you weren't alone, or that helped you realize that you needed to ask for help. Now let's talk about the critics. Because yes, of course, there's always pushback when it comes to something like this. Some say, oh, dumping ice is easy, supporting mental health reform is hard. And to be honest, they're not wrong. Viral challenges walk a fine line. Awareness doesn't always equal action. But that's why I'm excited about how this campaign is structured. The organizers have partnered with mental health nonprofits like NAMI, the JED Foundation, and Therapy for Black Girls. Donations go directly towards counseling societies, education, and life crisis lifeline fundings. So it's more than just visibility, it's resource building. When paired with funding and systematic change, awareness campaigns can be the first step of a much longer journey. And that's how we build momentum. So here's the question for you. Is performative activism always bad? Or can it still do good, even if some people only do it for clout? Personally, I think it depends on the outcome. My honest take is that intentions matter, but impact matters more. Sure, it can be frustrating when people post about causes they just look good, especially if they don't actually care or take real action. But even if someone's motivation is shallow, the, the attention they bring to the case and to the cause can be still helpful. Sometimes awareness has to come before understanding. Take the ice bucket challenge, for example. Maybe a lot of people only did it for fun or likes, but it raised millions of dollars for ALS research in 2014. That money made real difference, even if not everyone who participated truly understood that disease. The same goes with mental health and social justice. A celebrity posting about therapy or anxiety might just seem performative, but for some people watching, it could be the first time they feel seen or realize they're not alone. With that being said, performative activism becomes a problem when it comes to replacing an action. When it's all talk, no change. If someone posts a hashtag but doesn't treat people like respect or share a story, then ignores the issue afterward, that's when it starts to feel hollow. So no, it's not always bad, but we should push ourselves and each other to go beyond the post, to follow through, stay informed, and actually care even when the trend fades. So, you might be wondering, where do we go from here? The Ice Bucket Challenge 2.0 isn't a cure. It isn't a cure. It is not a cure. But it is a conversation starter. Of course it is. And sometimes that's the spark that we need. Mental health is complex. I know it is. And it requires compassion, support, funding, and most importantly, people who are willing to listen. And as I reflect on everything I've shared today, I will leave you with this. If awareness is a first step, empathy is a journey. My last reflection to you today is, what can I do personally to be part of this journey? And what do I want you to walk away with after this episode? And I think it starts with being real. Not just when it's trending, not just when there's a hashtag. I can talk about mental health the same way I talk about physical injury, with honesty and not shame. Might mean checking with on friends more often, or being brave enough to say, I'm not doing great today. But most importantly, that it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to ask for help. I want my audience to walk away knowing that it's okay, and that opening up isn't a weakness, it's a strength. You don't have to post a viral video or start a challenge. You just have to care, be kind, be aware, and most importantly, be consistent. Not just during Mental Health Awareness Month, but every month and every single day. If this episode starts one conversation or helps one person feel less alone, then I think it's already worth it. If you're ready to take the first step, take the first leap, and get into what we want to do, into our new generation, our modern technology, then here's some ways that you can take your first step. You can share your story. People love when other people share their story because they feel heard now. The second thing is post your challenge video with hashtag speak for the mind or hashtag speak your mind. You can donate. If you have extra money that you're able to donate, go donate it to a foundation that you like. And reach out to somebody today that you think that might need you or want you to say, you know what, I know you're not doing okay today, and I'm here for you if you ever want to reach out to me. Thank you guys for joining me on this season 2 premiere of Diversity Podcast, and thank you for supporting me through the ups and downs of this incredible journey. I couldn't have done it without y'all. Please share this with your friends and family. The best way to support me is to subscribe to my YouTube channel and all my social media platforms. I will have all my social media platforms below. Before I head off today, and you're probably going to watch another video or two, I want you to remember that we are heading up to 3 years of Story Aid Help. I want to ask you, what should I do for my 3 years? Let me know in the comments below. Well, it was great talking to y'all today. I'm David Arch, and I'll see you guys next time on Diversity Podcast. Until then, stay kind, stay aware, and take care of your mind.